A tech career at Intel to founding Eko Patagonia. Hey everybody, we're here with David Long from Eko Patagonia. David, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so tell us, David, where are you currently right now? I know it's probably pretty out there.
Yeah, thanks. Ironically enough, we were able to connect as I'm making my way north from southern Patagonia, stopping off here in Holbox Island. And so that's beautiful Caribbean Sea behind me. Yeah.
Yeah, that one of the problems with doing this series is I'm always envious of everybody I speak to wherever they are in the world. So, um,
Yeah.
okay, well, tell us, how did you end up getting into this whole Eko Patagonia company? I mean, you obviously founded it. What was your background and what was the path?
Yeah. So I started this idea began way back when I was a first as an exchange student to Chile. When I was there, I had a wonderful experience with the family that I was living with, and they became like a second family to me. One of the great things about Rotary Youth Exchange is you actually stay with a family for a year, and so during that time, yeah, I was able to really immerse myself in the culture and feel like not only Chilean but part of a family. From there, I ended up going out back to the States, doing the typical college route, which was good for me. I ended up at Intel Corporation and worked with them for a little over 20 years, 22, I think, to be exact. But during that time, I kept being called back to my second family, to Chile. And so on my first sabbatical from Intel, went back and visited my family who had moved to the Patagonia region. And from the first moment that I stepped off the tarmac or onto the tarmac, sorry, it was just like, wow, I need to be here. This is a place for me that is like home and is beautiful. This is something I need to share and protect. And so uh, that was the idea of Echo Patagonia, and we launched it from there.
And now you're living the alive, awake, aware lifestyle. Talk a little bit about that philosophy.
Wow, I didn't even know it was a lifestyle. Yeah, this the light over the wear thing is something that just came to me over time. I've always been interested in practicing meditation for a long time, and so when I land in every time I land actually in the Patagonia region, I just feel like there's an opportunity to disconnect. There's a lot less people there. Being around the mountains, even the fresh air, the quite literally the lack of energy of any kind that's down there, whether it's mental energy or even technology, allows one to connect to themselves in a way that maybe you wouldn't be able to do in lots of places in the world. And that's where I feel like I become alive. So I'm checking into my own body and what's going on for me, and maybe reflecting on what I want to do personally at that moment. And so, yeah, that's the alive piece.
Now, for you, obviously coming out of Intel, moving down there, starting the company, you had time for that alive, awake, aware element to percolate. What I find is always interesting with tour operators, programs, different things where people are trying to take people out of their environment, but have a relatively short time to help them become alive, awake, aware. How do you infuse that in your tours and your experiences, let's say?
Yeah, Josh. I mean, here's the thing about Alive Awake Aware. It's just a principle that I came up with, and really, it's up to the person to choose. So, like, if they have the choice and they want to do it, then there's the opportunity for having a transformational change. Um, During our particular programs, all of our guides and staff, frankly, down to the chef or even the people working on cleaning your cabins, are aware of the philosophy, and we do different. Not only in the experience itself, we may, depending on the guests, we may put a little bit more of a challenging situation in front of them, which yeah, allows them to then say, wow, this, maybe I overcame something I didn't think I could do, or this was more challenging than I thought. And then just different prompts the guides might give them in terms of the language that they use,
Mhm.
is another way that we do it. But I always like to tell the guys that it's not that it's necessarily a progression. Even it could be all things at the same time. You could be alive, awake, and aware in any moment. Just drinking your coffee on the beach in Holbox, you can experience all three things. And so It's not that you have to achieve one to get to the other, but it's just acknowledging that all of them exist and they exist inside of you, or whatever your goal is the way to kind of look at it. Yeah.
That's awesome. So in terms of a lot of what we talk about is global expansion, kind of taking your culture and kind of merging it with overseas cultures, et cetera. And from a business perspective, when you're setting up shop and you're hiring locally, what do you find is was easier than you thought? And what were some of the challenges when you say to somebody locally, hey, we've got this thing called sustainability, and we've also got this thing
Right.
called Alive, Awake, Aware. And they're kind of like,
Right.
what are you talking about? Well, you see, we're not that, and we're busy, so we want to be there. Like, it's just called living, right? Like,
Yeah.
how do you deal with those elements?
Yeah, well, there's a lot to unpack in that question. First of all, doing business abroad and getting started. The first thing you said, what did I find easy? Boy, I don't know what I found easy. Um, I think for me, it's just I wake up and I go to work and I do the things that I need to do. And frankly, sometimes they're frustrating and they're hard, but I enjoy it, right? And I think maybe that's the easy part is I actually enjoy it. I'm following my passion and doing what I want to do, and that's makes me feel alive and awake and aware. As far as dealing working with the cultures there, I would say that our biggest challenge was we were trying to take something that was more or less destined for garbage dump, and upcycling that. And so that's kind of a new concept for that particular region. And so we had some challenges there trying to take beaten up, rusty old shipping containers and turn them into, luxury cabins and a lodge. And so that definitely had its challenges. So the construction, and I think that's probably a familiar story in much of the world.
Well, no, but it also is interesting because I would imagine, are there moments where you said, it's actually going to cost me a little more money. This isn't saving me money to restore these containers, but it's part of our ethos. But at the same time, gosh, I have a company. Like, did that debate happen?
I feel like I have that conversation every day, Josh. Um, yeah, quite frankly. Yeah, no, the shipping containers became something that, yeah, again, this is my passion. I wanted to create something that was going to last a long time. I believe it's in his book, Let My People Go Surfing, where Yvon Chouinard talks about building for something that will last. They build a company that lasts for 100 years. And when they look at buying a new or building a new, I think they're buying or upcycling, new shops, retail shops. And so I took some of that into what we were doing and wanted to build something that would be there for 100 years. And so, yeah, we definitely have some shipping containers that we've invested more money in than if we would have probably just gone the traditional route, building in Chile.
And let's talk about having a company that's going to be around for 100 years. So, what do you see as the headwinds or some of the challenges that may kind of challenge that element?
Yeah, I think for me, yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily related to the company itself. I think you always have to adapt and change. But for us, it's just the travel market in and of itself. And what are people looking to do therein? In our particular region, it's a vast wilderness. I mean, it's I don't want to use the word savage. I'm thinking in Spanish. But it's very, it's very wild, and there's nobody there, and that's what makes it beautiful. It's what allows the people to go back to that alive, awake, aware concept. You look around and there's no one. And so I guess the biggest challenge there is how do we manage that in a way that is sustainable, maybe more regenerative, and allows us to protect those experiences for the people that come in the future and also invest in the local economy. I see that as a big challenge going forward. Yeah.
What is Eko Patagonia's key differentiator from a traveler's experience?
Yeah, we really offer this unique boutique intimate experience. We're 4 cabins, we're max 8 people. You get a one-to-one guide, and um, and we sprinkle in our alive, awake, aware. I think my history is somewhat unique, and that passes on that philosophy, that experience that I have as an exchange student living with a family, being already immersed in the culture, and therefore the relationships that I've made in the region are also something that are pretty unique for us. We have, families just up the road that are friends of mine now. They're not just another service provider, if you will. They're actually friends of mine. We have conversations with them. They're we actually go to their place and have an experience with them, but they're friends. Their daughter is our sous chef, and by the way, an amazing sous chef, makes amazing gluten-free, dairy-free desserts and breads and everything, which is great for me and a lot of our guests who come. So yeah, I think art would just be a live awake aware piece being sprinkled on the top. Like again, if people are open to doing that, we can go there. But that service that we offer, focusing on the local economy and sustainability plus all the adventures. So.
You mentioned something about activities or things that you do to kind of imbue a sense of alive, awake, aware. Do you have any examples of that?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I do. I pause because I don't know that I necessarily want to give away the idea, but we do things from pretty strenuous hikes to well, you mentioned it earlier, Josh, to just fly fishing. So we do incorporate fly fishing into what we're doing. It's a passion of mine. It's something that I think everybody should try, and it does challenge. So
Yeah, I've tried it, and it's not pretty. It's a lot more challenging than I had anticipated. Although that's kind of what I like about it because you're not just sitting there waiting for a bite. Um, Talk about this Mayfly project, which is much more than just a passing comment. You actually have a project that you work on, and where is that?
yeah, well, that was kind of serendipitous. So as I was getting ready to, so I left Intel, golly, I don't even know how many years ago now, maybe 2, 3 years ago. And the MyFly project in Portland, Oregon was looking for a lead mentor. And I was like, this aligns perfectly with what I want to do. I'm on the emeritus board of an organization called LEAP, that takes uh, kids out on the river or those who have experienced a trauma out on the river for a 5-day river trip. Does some of the similar concepts to what we're talking about, and teaches people that they're stronger than they think they are and gives them opportunity to be in the wilderness. Um, but I wanted to give back to kids in terms of fly fishing. It's a passion of mine. It's what I grew up doing. I remember tying my first fly, going out to the river and catching a fish on it, and it was just amazing. But it really is a therapeutic thing for me. It's almost like, as you mentioned, you go out there, you can't really think of anything else. You really have to pay attention to what you're doing. And so, yeah, I decided to help those guys out, and we got going last year. We had our first outing with kids and taught. I think we ended up teaching 12 kids how to fly fish, and it's a wonderful organization. We do teach them also about mindfulness in the river and leave no trace and micro trash and lots of wonderful things that they can take with them into the future. So, yeah, Mayfly Project's been really great.
Yeah, I can see how you can make the parallel or make fly fishing analogous to a lot of things you go through as a growing, let's say, youth into adulthood, right? You got to analyze the environment. You've got to take into account the current state, not just come in with a preconceived idea of how things are going to go. And you have to be
Yeah,
able to adjust and then make a plan and follow through. It's really interesting.
yeah. Well, it's a wonderful parallel. I hadn't thought about it that way, but yeah, you're right.
Well, okay. So where do you want to bring your business in the next 5 years? What are you seeing as some of the challenges? And we know the world's changing as it always is, but
Yes.
what's going on?
Yeah, next 5 years for me really would be that we're full and we're expanding. So there's a term at Intel that we used to use. It's called copy exact. The idea is that you get something. It was more of a manufacturing term, but you get something dialed in so well that you can actually copy that exactly into another location. And so I want to get our operation humming, if you will, so well that we're having an impact in our local community. We're having an impact with the people that come and visit us, even if it's a micro change that they experience, and they take that back to their place, wherever that is. I want to see evidence of that happening, and then once that's humming within the next 5 years, maybe sooner, I want to take that and expand other locations.
Awesome. We want to see you do that. So
Thank
obviously,
you.
I'll put some information here around how to get in touch with you, have that experience. Last question for you, David, is people looking to do business in Chile, not necessarily in the tourism space, but just in general, what are a couple of the key things they need to think about with a cultural kind of lens?
Yeah, I mean, I would say one and one A and one B or whatever. I mean, the main thing, and you just hit it, obviously with your background, I think you already know it's culture. You have to understand the culture, and within that comes all kinds of things, whether from hiring to going through all the bureaucracy you need to go through, to building permits to yeah, any other type of tour permit, you have to understand the culture. So having feet on the ground and people on your side that can help guide you through the cultural piece, I think would be a number one. We have been lucky because of my exchange student, or sorry, my exchange family, my second family being there. That's been super helpful for me.
Obviously, any specifics? Because when you're doing that, obviously in most countries, you've got to do that. I did a lot of business in Asia. There's a very different way they have to looking at things. A lot of people assume when you're doing Latin America, for ignorance or accuracy, I don't know, that there's corruption when you're getting licenses and permits.
Mm.
But the perception is Chile's more evolved in that regard. Is that actually true? Or are there surprises that you had where like, oh no, they're still doing that? Or
No, I don't think I do think Chile's more involved. I've been very impressed with it from that standpoint. There's a lot of this fly in my face. There's a lot of similarities to the US in that way. So the structure is very similar, even down to the accounting is very similar. Um, Maybe land on my head. But yeah, no, I've not run into any corruption or any of those types of things. So I think
great.
wouldn't that wouldn't be an issue.
Okay. Any messages you want to say for our friends out there that are exploring Eco Patagonia versus 50 other options in their lives?
Yeah, I'd love to have them call me. I mean, I think that's, let's talk and I can give you a little more detail about what we do. You'll have a wonderful experience if you come down here. I promise that. And you may be lucky enough to step in a part of the world that nobody else has stepped before. We're that remote. So if you want to be a
Wow.
pioneer, come join us at Eko Patagonia.
David Long from Eco Patagonia, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it.